It's been such a great day. I'm so sad that we're getting to the end of this conference. We heard this morning from Minister Taylor and Minister Keane, two of the most influential people in building sustainability and the environment, telling us about the vision where Australia needs to go in the next decade. We also had a lot of sustainability leaders that have done so much for our sector in the last 20 years, telling us about their successes and failures, lessons learned, and where they think the building sector needs to go in the next 10 years. And we also heard about the commercial building disclosure, which helped the office sector transition and save more energy than any other sector in the Australian economy in the last 10 years, which is huge. And finally, we also heard that NABERS users have reduced a whopping 30% energy consumption in the last 10 years and over $1 billion since the program started 20 years ago. And all of that makes me really proud of all the great work that many of you are doing out there. Depending on which session you join, you would have heard that we are making changes to NABERS Energy to account for the fact that the grid is decarbonizing. That means that many all-electric technologies are becoming lower and lower carbon and better for the environment. And we want to recognize that in NABERS, and we will be making changes from the 1st of July to account for that. We also had a session about how many NABERS users are using ratings to set targets at the building level, at the portfolio level, and also to communicate their performance and their improvements to the stakeholders and investors and be recognized for walking the walk. We also had a session about how we're working with many assessors on how do we help you to grow your skills and also to capitalize on a lot of the opportunities of NABERS moving into new sectors and even in sectors where we're seeing a lot of growth, such as waste and indoor environment. Now, we had 5 of these sessions and you can only attend 1. So if you feel like you missed out, don't worry. All these sessions have been recorded and they will be available to you for free. Now, I do want to recognize it's been a very difficult year for all of you out there because of COVID-19. Many of you reached out very early in the pandemic to us and really asked us to take as much action as we could, as early as we could. And because of that, we acted much earlier than we would have done otherwise. And I want to thank you for that. Because of that, in the last 4 months, we've been working together to design a lot of solutions to most of the practical problems that people have had in terms of NABERS ratings. We also work with the Commonwealth Government, and I want to thank them for this. They help us to secure funding to provide real financial relief for many of our users. And you may have missed this a few weeks ago, and if you did, I think it's important you know that we will be waiving rating fees for several sectors in NABERS in the next 12 months, including apartment buildings, data centers, hotels, shopping centers, and small offices under 1,000 meters square. Now, none of this would have happened without a lot of your feedback and ideas coming constantly to our team in the last 4 months. And I'm actually really proud of the relationship that we've been able to build with you in the last few years. You're actually making us a better program every year. In the last 4 months, you've also shown us that you're making us a more resilient program and a more resilient community. We have a lot of action packed this year, and I'm so excited about it. To begin with, NABERS is expanding to multiple sectors in the next 12 months and 2 years. And we're starting with aged care and retirement living as the first 2 sectors where we're going to have certification. We're actually planning to release this before the 1st of July next year. So we're going to do a lot of engagement work in the next 12 months. If you work in these sectors, please get in touch with us because we want to work with you and make as much change happen in those sectors as we can. We're also, if you're an assessor, you might be particularly excited about this. We're going to start bringing NABERS tools into the cloud and away from NABERS Rate. And it's a process that is going to take some time. We are doing some early piloting, and we are planning to release our first sector fully in the cloud, which will be shopping centers, early in 2021. After that, we'll begin the process of migrating other NABERS tools. And it will take some time, but we have started that process. And I know that a lot of you would be really happy to hear that. Finally, we're also working to how can we recognize many of our NABERS participants who are not just setting net zero targets for the future, but they are actually trying to achieve that now, this year, next year. And we're looking at the ways in which we could recognize that in the star rating in NABERS. We'll be doing a lot of work in the next 3 to 6 months. So if you are interested in that space, please work with us and let us know. It's going to be a really exciting year. We're doing a lot more things than just this. And it's going to be a year when we're setting the foundations for a lot of our work over the next decade. So stay tuned. Now, I do want to close by recognizing that the challenges of climate change, drought, the waste crisis, and creating healthy buildings have never been bigger than today. And the last 6 months have been a constant reminder of how big these issues are. In the next decade, we need to make major progress on all these fronts and go as far as we can and as fast as we can. But I'm actually feeling really optimistic because many of our users, many of you out there are really blazing the trail in sustainability, not only nationally, but internationally. And I think we've demonstrated that collectively we have the creativity, the talent, and the expertise we need to make a huge difference in the next decade. This is the decade to deliver. Thank you for joining.